Welcome back. We're now going to be checking in with the top management of Akzo Nobel. Incidentally, the paint maker had come out with its earnings just a few days back, and for the December quarter, we had seen a 4% decline in its consolidated net profit to come in at 83 crore rupees as inflation headwinds catch up. But there's a lot of bullish commentary that has also come in from the management going forward, the demand situation that we're seeing. And joining us to talk about this and the road ahead is Oscar Wezenbeek, the chairman, as well as Rajiv Rajgopal, the managing director of Akzo Nobel India. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being live with us here on ET Now. Oscar, I'm going to come to you first because not only are you heading the India business, you're in charge of Asia, including Australia, excluding China. So I thought let's start with the bigger picture first, because for the first time in many years, maybe the first time at least in a decade, we've seen India being mentioned a lot in the global earnings call. What exactly is this going to mean? For example, will we see more investments? Will there be more action on ground from the company?
I'm indeed very proud of the performance of India. I think it's a poster child for the strategy that Akzo Nobel is rolling out, the grow and deliver strategy, where we really have seen also in India double-digit growth in the top line. We really see our market position strengthening in India, but at the same time, the team has done so both in a very disciplined way. So we see the profits developing in a very nice double-digit result, and also the way how the India team has realized it. It's driven by innovation. We launched the Paint the Future initiative this week, which is very exciting, driving innovation. We win sustainability awards in India, and also our Let's Color campaign. We really are a force for good in the communities where we operate. So a very strong kudos to the India team, and it's a poster boy for the overall strategy of the company.
Okay, so India's turning out to be the poster boy for Akzo Nobel globally. And with that, Mr. Rajgopal, I'd like to come to you. And before we go any further, let's just address the big question, right? There are inflationary headwinds. Look at the raw material cost inputs that are going up. And I would imagine in fourth quarter, it'll be even more challenged, just the way we've seen commodity prices run up. How are you at Akzo Nobel India going to deal with all of that?
Good morning. Good morning to you, Avni, and to all our viewers. And wonderful to be back with ET Now. You're right. If you look at the last few quarters, the raw material headwinds have only sort of gone up. And one of the things that we've done is really to make sure that though we are a challenger brand, that we stay disciplined in our pricing. So if you really look at it, really, even by the time we entered quarter four, the quarter three of the fiscal, we had already taken close to about a 14% price increase. At the end of December, we were almost at 18%, and we took another price increase in January of about 4.7%. So cumulatively, we've taken almost about a 22% price increase, which the industry actually caught up, but caught up late. And as you know how it happens, what happens is the more you delay your price increase, the impact on profitability is even sharper. So I think we've stayed disciplined. How do we see times going ahead? I do see, as I mentioned the last time, that there is a bit of a wait and watch. We had expected the crude to roll back to about $75 to $80 a barrel, but as you are aware, because of extraneous circumstances, the crude is still hovering around 90, and that will have some ramifications. I think from this quarter, I think the pricing we've taken should cover us. But again, we stay absolutely vigilant, and depending on how the inflationary pressures, etc., work, without making sure that we impact demand, we will take some selective or price increases.
Joining in now, we always talk about the decorative part. What about the industrial part, which is about 35% of your portfolio? Assuming that factories are expanding, both brownfield and even greenfield, one is getting a sense that things right now are looking up on that front?
So Nikunj, the industrial business, I'm very happy to report, actually last quarter, all the businesses grew, whether it's marine protective, automotive and specialty coatings, powder and industrial coatings, right? I think last quarter has been a phenomenal performances across all, and of course, decorative paints, everything grew. On the industrial business, you're right. we've seen a consistent uptick since October, and it's not just festive because I think the capacities are getting built. Hopefully, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed. If once COVID tapers, we see at least in the coming quarters the fact that I think there would be a surge back in terms of consumption and a huge uptick in infrastructure. I think we've as a country got to do a bit of catch up, and hence some of our largest customers hopefully should start seeing a good acceleration in their businesses, which will obviously mean resonate with us. And you would also see investments at a point in time later this year that we would do in our coatings business, if required, to spruce up capacity.
Well, you've made Rajiv's day by saying that you're very happy with the India business. My next question to you is, let's say on behalf of investors, and they would say that what is Akzo Nobel's plan to ensure that a global brand like this becomes a number two or a strong, solid market leader in India to reckon with? Because Oscar, you know it, that Indian market, it is dominated by one large player and then several other small players. How are you planning to address that? Because the minute you address that, Oscar, I can tell you the stock's going to do cartwheels.
I think I best pass the question to Rajiv, what his exciting plans are for the India market.
Yeah, so thank you, Nico. Thanks, Oscar. Look, I think for me, the first is the power of focus, Nikunj. And by that, what I'm doing is focusing on the core propositions, building it, because that's the foundation we've actually laid. And while doing that, focusing on our distribution. I talked about distribution 2.0. We are the only player with distributors in the paints business. And we've accelerated 2.0 by actually starting something called Hub and Spoke, where we are increasing our coverage from about the current 3,500, 4,000 to 5,000 towns, which we've already almost achieved, and we are crossing 5,000 towns now, moving it now to 8,000 in the next couple of years. So that's one. So focus, on the core propositions, bring in differentiation in the category. The second is, disrupt the market. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but how can you, as the number 4 player, disrupt the market? You don't want newcomers to do it. And for me, the thought is really, how do you play the digital game? And you will see that in the coming months. I think the Paint the Future is the first umbrella stuff that we've tied up. We are the first paint company in that manner tying up, and I'm grateful to NASSCOM for giving us a lot of inputs. We are working very closely with NASSCOM to get the entire startup. Look, in today's world, you can't win wars alone. It's about how do you collaborate and how do you co-opt with people who are brighter and also coming with value propositions that can significantly impact the business. And that's what we want to do. So we want to take about 100 startups, boil down to the top 15 startups, and then we will look at in terms of how they're going to do it. The theme is about how can we enrich the digital experience for consumers for brand Dulux. So how do you really convert the power of science into the magic of paint, if I were to say? So we want to start with the flagship brand Dulux and then move it on to our coatings business. So that's the second or third lever. And the third really is about saying, how do you really prepare strategically to make sure that you're participating in segments where there's a faster growth. So, categories like waterproofing, wood care, and mass markets where typically the growths have come in. How do you do it in a accretive manner? So without sort of destroying value, how do you start playing in it? And a lot of work has happened, with my R&D team. Grateful to Oscar and the global R&D team for sort of supporting India innovation. The India Innovation Center is really going to be one of the first in terms of low-cost innovation for not just South Asia or Southeast Asia, South Asia, but also for the rest of the world. So really, and last is, of course, I think our biggest draw is, our product quality. So how can we continuously work on our product quality to make sure that while we innovate and do all the first three, we continuously bring in strong innovations into the market. And last for me is people, which we rarely talk about in an interview like this. I think what I'm pleased about is the fact that we've got something called the OHI index, which is a McKinsey study. We are in the top decile, and so really, to me, the power of unleashing the team to the market, I think, is the other critical success factor.
Yes, it's a people problem with many industries, one can assure you that. But Oscar, Rajiv, both of you, great to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.